Now we'll also understand in this reading what is bhakti. Bhakti is a very high state. It's a very high state. Now we could just say the state of samadhi itself is bhakti, something like that. Okay, let's now continue from where we stopped. So the last one we did was, I am not going to do the sattva, rajas, tamas, buddhi, dhriti and sukha. It is understood. So you can read it and you'll get the meanings. It's very. So we now know that buddhi, dhriti and sukha. All the three were explained by Lord to explain karma. Because it is using buddhi or intellect only, we can perform karma. So you not like an animal which does instinctively. Every activity we do it using intellect. That's why in childhood only we are sent to school or we learn how to improve the intellect. Dhriti is that capability to fortitude, the determination to do work, willpower. That also sattvic, rajasic and tamasic. Sukha is the enjoyment that we get in this world. Sukha we can do once more. Lord says, in the beginning, if it is like poison, later on it feels like amrita, that is sattvic sukha. Example, Atma Buddhi Prasadam, anything that gives us self-realization. Puja, prayer, meditation, and things like that. Many souls, once we train our minds to be always praying or meditating or reading God's books, the mind becomes accustomed to it, and it takes to it. And that's how we have to train the mind to attain sattvika sukha. Not always sukha, external sukha. Vishaya Indriya Samyoga. Vishaya Indriya Samyoga is union of Vishayas, objects of pleasure, and the Indriyas. When that is uniting, whatever sukha you get, that is instantly very, very happy. But in the long run, it gives disease, old age, and death. So even food, everything. Food is the essential cause of our death. You know that the body machine, it becomes very weak because of excessive work, because of consumption of food only. That's why yogis who eat only once live for a long time. So that is Vishayendriya Samyoga. It can be any other Indriyas also. Then Lord says, what is Tamasic Sukha? Tamasic Sukha, Lord says, from the beginning only it is very delusive. Somewhere deep down you already know it is very delusive. It's done by deluded intellect only. Then at the end also there is no happiness as such. It gives you Nidra, Alasya, Pramada. It is a big mistake, Pramada. Nidra and Alasya also comes from it. Then Lord says that these kinds of classification of Sattva, Rajas, Tamas is there from even in the Devaloka and the higher lokas also. However, in everything in Prakriti follows this path of Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. So you've seen Lord Shiva or Lord Vishnu. You've seen their iconography, like in their pictures, whatever is carved in temple walls or what is being explained, or nowadays, of course, print and photographs and all. So everywhere they show the Lord Vishnu in Yoga Nidra and Lord Shiva meditating. Devi also will be typically, she'll be sitting on her Vahan and she'll be meditating. You see Mother Lakshmi, she'll be sitting in Padmasana only on the lotus. Look at Mother Sharda, eyes will be open, but her hands will be meditative. They'll be all the meditative. This one, the mudra legs are in meditative state. So what does this signify? What does this symbolize? This symbolizes a very simple fact that these highest of the highest divine manifestations of God, who's Bhagwan Vishnu, Narayana, and even Lord Shiva, even they, in their Satyalokas, which is the seventh loka from here, the highest, they are also not taking any chance. They also are always in Samadhi state. They are in Samadhi state. Through Samadhi, in their Samadhi state, Brahma, Parabrahman flows through them. And gets all the activities done. Creation, preservation, and even dissolution. So it's not like how we get up in the morning and go and cook or clean or go to office. That's not how they're working. They are in Samadhi state. They are in the Nirvikalpa Yoga state, the highest beings. So that is how one has to live in this world. Although we are in a smaller world, which is much lower Earth, a planet, but then loka, but then even here, Lord says, try to live in those states. And that's how those devas are devas, always constantly united to Brahma. And that's why they become worshipable. They're like an avatar. Like avatars who come here, like Lord Christ, Krishna, Paramahansa Yogananda, Ram Krishna Paramahansa, all of them, they let Brahma move through their body freely, doing nothing for themselves, accumulating nothing for themselves. So that's how we live. Then, of course, we discuss the castes. Now, Lord talked about there are 4 types of beings depending on the guna that they have. They have so it says, Lord says, Swabhava. Swabhava Prabhavair Gunaihi. So, because of the gunas, this is 41 shloka for those of you confused. 41 shloka, he says, through the guna only you can identify what a person is, what's his inborn nature. Now, how did this inborn nature come? Inborn nature comes because of our past life actions and what we have cultivated in our past lives. Like, for example, if one has prayed to God, dependent on the Lord throughout, wisdom naturally grows. So then we progress into a Brahmana state. It can happen in this life also. That's what Paramahansa Yogananda writes in Kotak's Tarjuna. You don't have to be born. In fact, the Vaishnava Sampradaya, they say something very fascinating. They say that everyone is a Shudra at birth. Everyone is a Shudra at birth. Yes, true. Why? Because you're just learning to move the body. You're just depending on food, poop, pee. You know what a small child is doing? Eating, sleeping, and excreting. So that is a Shudra state. And no work, nothing, no karma, no intellect, no understanding. So initially, until we go to school, slowly grow. So then we move into higher states. So it is only after the guru comes that you become a Brahmin, Dvija. That's what they say, the Vaishnava Sampradaya. So till then, all of us are Shudras. Okay. True also. It's only after the guru comes, we become Brahmins. Lari Mahasaya goes on to say that, one Kriya Yogi who's sincerely practicing is equal to 8 Brahmins. So pure his mind is. So pure his life is. Okay. No need of doing Bhesh. Lari Mahasaya's disciples were very advanced beings. If you read the letters of Lari Mahasaya, just on a lighter note, Lari Mahasaya's disciples, he used to advise his disciples to practice 20,000 kriyas in a day. 24,000 kriyas in a day. This is not human level disciples. They were not, like Desharji and not like you and me. However, we are also starting our practices to cleanse the Atma Shuddhi, Buddhi ko Shuddhi karna. Okay. Then Shamodamastapa Shaucham Shantirajavamevacha Jnana Vijnana Mastikyam Brahma Karma Savajam. Brahma Karma, these are people who do Brahma Karma, they are in this kind of state. Shauryam, now the Brahman is a kind of a quality. It's a more of sattvic quality, but he's not free yet. You see, he's not free yet. Shauryam tejo dhritir daksham yuddhe chapya palayanam dhanamishra bhavasya kshatram karma. So we understand shaurya, valor, forgiveness, munificence, giving, dana, all those things. Krishi Gauraksha Vanijam, Vaishya karma. So normally wanting to do some business to earn money, make a living, that excites them. That is a Vaishya, And Paricharyatmakam karma, Shudrasya Apasabha. They don't feel ayasa in the physical body, Shudras. They can work for 12 to 15 hours. You observe it, it's a very specific quality. You look at people who do coolie and all, building construction and all. Of course, now it's become more automated, but in India now is becoming cooler, but once upon a time it was very hot, right? 20 years back, 30 years back. And that heat, 40, 48 degrees, you will see, people who are doing hard work, paricharyatmakam karma, they will take their cement, whatever thing, and walk up the stairs, 10 stairs, 20 stairs. We can't walk 2 stairs properly. They will do such hard work. It is not that they don't get tired. They've got a specific control over the body, which is different from the others. So basically, if you have an army which is full of Shudras and the Kshatriyas, that will be the strongest army in the world. So you see, need them. We need them so much. So then Lord talks about Swadharma. We did this fast, so slowly, little bit we'll do. Sve sve karmanya abhirataha samsiddhim labate nara. जो कर्म आपको दिया गया है, whatever karma, sve sve karmanya abhirataha, you are busy in that. Be busy in that, Lord says. Abhiratah samsiddhim labate nara. According to your desire to do that work, be busy in that. Labate samsiddhim. You will get siddhi in that. You will be perfected in that. Karma nirata siddhim. Then labate nara. Sarva swakarma nirata siddhim yata vindati tachruno. Listen, and how you will be very successful in your swakarma. Your swabhava gives you swakarma. Then Lord says, Yata pravritti bhutana yena sarvamidam tatam swakarmana tamabhyarchya siddhim vindati manavaha. So how do you get siddhi? Lord says by worshipping the one Lord. How will you worship? According to how your heart wants to worship Him. According to your swaguna, your swabhava, you worship Him. A Brahmana may meditate. A Kshatriya may, do big dana, huge bhandar he can hold, lots of money, big yajna, call hundreds of, this one. Same Vanijya guy also, that's the Vaishya, who's earning a lot of money, a big businessman. He will, like, for example, now, Ambanis, they will do a huge yajna. So that will be his swakarma. According to them, tamabhyarcha. Abhyarcha is to worship. Siddhim vindati mana. You will get mana, you will get perfection. Whom you have to worship? Yena sarvam idam tatam. What is it? Bhutanam yena sarvam idam tatam. All the beings are pervaded by some being, right? Worship him. Worship him. By worshipping him, you will get that siddhi. Then Lord says, Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha. You know the story of Chokamela, right? There's so many from that caste, Shudra caste, who became Brahmins by worshipping Lord. There was a boy called Chokamela who belonged to the Shudra caste in Maharashtra. Pandharinath, Vithala. They say that he was from the Shudra caste. He didn't understand Brahmin chants or anything. But he would be playing with his other high upper class friends and all, some ball game or something near the river. And the Pandrapur temple used to go on evening aarti. And all the kids would run, wash their legs in the river and run to worship Lord. They were allowed. The Shudras in ancient times, because the caste system, it was not right. He was not allowed. So he would feel very dejected, but he would feel very attracted to the temple chants, the sounds, singing, and everything. And Chokamela used to sit there and try to look at the Lord from outside. So like this, not even knowing anything, with his buddhi very, very lowly, he started worshipping the Lord. Closing his eyes and thinking, Vithala, Vithala, I love you. Wherever you are, I don't have the chance to enter and see you. Let me worship you here itself. Neither did he chant, neither did he meditate, neither did he bathe himself or anything. He belonged to the Shudra caste. He couldn't chant or anything. He never learned. His parents didn't learn. So slowly, he became such a big Vidwan. He's known as one of the greatest bhaktas. He composed so many abhangs, those small kirtanas, So then he became a Vidwan in all the Vedas. And knowing nothing, not even going to school, college, teacher, nothing. Only Vithala bolke. So how did he, Svesve Karmanya Abhirata Samsiddhim. So Chokamela didn't know anything, but in his own Shraddha, he attained that Brahmana state and then he became united with his Vitthal. So according to what you feel, with your Shraddha, you call God. That's what Lord is saying. And you will become a Siddha. So you got the example, right? So any way you can worship the Lord. Then Lord says, Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha. Do your dharma even if you feel it is without guna. Paradharma so anushtitat. Paradharma so anushtitat. So even if you do paradharma very well, what will happen? Swabhava niyatam karma kurvan napnoti kilbisham. So you should not do paradharma. So anything that belongs to somebody else, you should not covet. And do that. You think, like yesterday we discussed this in detail, right? So suppose we want to do something else because that person is, everyone's doing engineering, let me also go to engineering. So even if you do it very well, your heart and your calling won't be there. So later on, you'll come to make a business. You may do very well in the business. You may just open a hotel after doing engineering and you'll be very successful. because that was your swabhava and you wanted that. That was your soul's plan anyway, technically speaking. You will not get any sin. Sahajam karma kaunteya sadoshamapi natyaja. This is sahaja. This is your natural guna. Do it. Whatever comes to you. Sadoshamapi natyaja. Even if you feel people are saying, इसमें दोष है, दोष है, ये ठीक नहीं है तुम्हारा कर्म, न त्यजे, don't give it up. सर्वारंभा ही दोषेना तुमे नाग्नि रिवावृता. सर्व आरंभ, सारे कर्म में कुछ न कुछ दोष रहता ही है ना? Because just like Agni has smoke around it, Dhuma is around Agni, Avrita. It's veiled like that because it's an imperfect world. Even a king's duty will have its own pains and troubles. Suddenly the enemy will attack and cut off the head of the king. It's better to be a farmer, living a peaceful life with his wife and 2 children, doing his farming, little bit of vegetables and rice, and buying his little oil and clothes from the marketplace and going and doing Harikirtana and dying in moksha. So it's better than the king's life, right? So you see, but you should not think, the farmer should not think the king is greater and go there. That's what Lord is saying. I know, let me go to the Raj Sabha. Let me sit there like a Vidwan. I want to be a Sabhapati. I want to sit there and I want to wear this pagdi and that I want to be. If he gets attracted, this is not his karma. So like that. So then Lord says, Asakta buddhi sarvatra jitatma vigata spraha naishkarmya siddhim paramam sanyasena adhigacchati. So like asakta buddhi sarvatra. Oh, this we've not done. Yes. So we did only till Dhume Nagni Rivarata. Okay, we'll do the 49th one. Asakta buddhi sarvatra jitatma vigata spraha naishkarmya siddhim paramam sanyasena adhigacchati. Lord says, Asakta is detached. You know by now that word has come so many times. Sakta is to be asakti hai jisko. Sakta is attached. Asakta is in Sanskrit jisko asakti nahi hai. Buddhi sarvatra. So intellect can get attached also, right? Not only the mind. So intellect has to be purified, Lord says, detached. Sarvatra, everywhere. Jita atma. Atma ko jeet lena. Now the Atma, Bhagavan normally talks about, whenever I say Jitatma, he talks about which Atma are we conquering? Conquering the ego. Jitatma, Vigata Spruha. Spruha, Sparsha. The word comes from Sparsha. We've heard this word before many times. Sparsha is attachment. Again, Vigata, gone. Gata, gone. Without attachment. Again. Okay? Or without desires like that. Naishkarmya siddhim. You will get that state of Naishkarmyata, where you can be actionless. Actionless state is a state which is like a very high state of a karma yogi. He'll continue to do it without any desire and without any attachment. Naishkarya siddhim paramam, the highest. Sanyasena adhigacchati. And he will attain sannyasa good. Which Arjuna asked the first question, what is sannyasa? What is tyaga? Lord then explains basically the same thing. So being in karma yogi only, doing all your works in asakta buddhi, you will win over your atma and then you'll become free from all desires and you'll get the Naishkarmya siddhi, and this itself is attaining of sannyasa. Lord says, Siddhim prapto, okay, sir. Siddhim prapto yata brahma tatapnoti nibodha me samaseneva kaunteya nishta jnanasya ya para. Lord says, Siddhim prapto yata brahma. Siddhim is perfection. Prapta is to get. How? Brahma. You will get Brahma. When you get this kind of siddhi, Naishkarmya siddhi, sannyasa is a siddhi. Tata apnoti. How you will attain this? Nibodhame. I will do bodhana to you. Me. By me. Samaseneva. Briefly, Arjuna. Eva kaunteya. To you, I'll briefly tell you. Nishta jnanasya. Focus and, firmly established in this. Nishta jnanasya. This knowledge. Yapara. This is a very, 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 this is a knowledge which is attainable for a person who is firmly fixed, nishtha. So it is one who wants to attain Brahma has to struggle. He has to do a yatna. Like during tea time, you have to do Gita Gyan Yakhya. To learn the Gita, you have to learn the scriptures. Morning, evening, you have to meditate. Keep the mind on God throughout. These are easier ways. Also, there are faster ways. Tivra Samvegana Masannaha, who do it very intensely. Tapas in the yoga tapas in the forest. So this kind of nishtha, how to get this nishtha jnana, I will tell you in brief. And this, how you get this siddhi through which you attain Brahma. Then Lord repeats this. This is more like a summary. It has been explained in all chapters in different states like Sthita Prajna, Gunatita, Jitendriya, Bhakta, and all these. These are called Lakshanas, meaning traits, personality traits of this person. Then Lord says, Buddhya Vishuddhaya Yukto Dhrityatmanam Niyamya Cha Shabdadin Vishayan Tyaktva Ragadveshau Yudhasya Cha Ragadveshau Yudhasya Cha Viviktasevi Laghvashe Yata Vakkaya Manasaha Dhyana Yoga Paro Nityam Vairagyam Samupashritaha Ahankaram Balam Dharpam Kamam Krodham Parigraham Vimuchya Nirmamah Shanto Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. So then Lord, these three are very related for 51, 52, 53. So in this, Lord is explaining that state. Who is Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate? Brahma Bhuyaya is to Brahma ke saath unite hona. Kalpate is can do kalpana of it or can attain. Who can attain Brahma? Who can attain the Siddhi? Who can attain Brahma? That is what Lord is explaining. So Lord says, Buddhya Vishuddhaya Yuktaha. So your intellect should be purified. This is akin to Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Basically cleanse the. So Lord Krishna doesn't use, is not very, Vyasa, Lord Vyasa Muni is not exactly saying when he wants to use, he doesn't use aham, ever, unless it's talking about dharpam, bhalam, aham, like that. He says atma for everything. So he doesn't even use the word chitta. But if you go to, after another 1500 years, you go to Patanjali Yoga Sutras and all those times of yogic texts, chitta becomes very important. It will keep coming for you. So you don't please get confused. So that is why we need an interpretation of these scriptures by a Mahatma. Because that's what Guruji says, the root words, the change over a period of time. Just like slang. Today's world, children speak something. Legit, man, legit. Have you heard that? Initially, we were confused. Even in our times in colleges, there used to be so many, don't fib. I was like shocked. What is this fib? Later on, you realize it means lies. So, new words come. Old words go away. And also the old words, meanings change in the present context. So 500 years from today, whatever we speak will be totally different. If we are reborn, we will not be able to understand. It may be English mixed with some Indian language or whatever. So it will be totally different. Okay. So like that, even this. So when his Lord says Buddhya Vishuddhaya Yukto, it does not necessarily mean only the intellect. So Lord is basically saying cleanse yourself, your internal faculties. Buddhya Vishuddhya Yukta, Dritya Atmanam Niyamya Cha. So by Dhriti is determination or fortitude, willpower. Using that, you Atmanam. Which Atma? The ego self, the lower self, Niyamya. Control the lower self. There is a lower self, right? Which is a reflection of the higher self. Who is handling our intellect, manas, and indriyas and everything. Typically, it is called aham in today's world. So that lower self, Lord Krishna uses the word lower self. Atmanam niyamyacha. Shabda adin vishayan tyaktva. Shabda is to hear, right? So Shabda means all the vishayas. Everything, what you taste, touch, hear, see. everything, speak. These are called Vishayas. Tyaktva. Vishayan Tyaktva. Now, abandon what is heard, what is tasted, what is seen, and things like that. This does not mean stop eating. This does not mean stop seeing. This is similar to Lord Christ when he says, if your hand offended thee, cut it off. If your eyes offended thee, pluck it off. But that doesn't mean cut your hand. Guruji explains this. So he says, Shabdadin Vishayan Tyakta, meaning don't be attached to whatever is coming in, whatever is, being tasted, the detachment. It is an internal detachment called the Pratyahara state. Where the prana is Urdhvagamana, meaning going upwards. So that is Shabdadin Vishayan Tyaktva. Raga Dvesha Vyudasya cha. Raga Dvesha, opposites, no? Passion and Dvesha, anger. That Vyuda is to give it away, drop it, cast it away. And Vivikta Sevi. Vivikta Sevi is to, next shloka, to be alone. Learn to like being alone. Vivikta Sevi. And try to be alone, like the yogis of the Himalayas. Even in the house, you can be. Need not necessarily be, out, always cutting off family, but also when you're with the family, also the chanting has to keep on going on in your mind. Ram, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. It's a beautiful way to live. Vivikta Sevi, Laghu Ashi. Laghu Ashi is to eat less, very less you eat. Yata Vak Kaya Manasaha. Yata is Yatna control. Vak, speech, Kaya, body, Manas is mind. Dhyana yoga paro nityam, whenever possible and all the time, in fact, Lord saying, be in the state of meditative state. Vairagyam samupashrita. Detachment from everything, dispassionate from everything in this world. Some upashrita, taking shelter. Ahankaram balam darpam. Ahankara is egoism. Here is using the word ahankaram. Balam is, I'm very strong, so no, I can't, nobody can talk back to me. That feeling, no, balam. Dharpam is again arrogance, conceit. Dharpam. Kamam, excessive desire. Krodham, excessive anger. Parigraham, control it. He doesn't say try to control, he said control it. Parigraham. Vimuchya nirmamaha. Get freed from mamakara. My house, my property, my bungalow, my house, my wife, my kids, my husband. Mamakara. Shanta. Be very peaceful all the time. Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Then becoming united with Brahma is possible for you. Then Lord says, Brahmabhuta prasannatma na shochati na kankshati samasarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labate param. See, this is so beautiful. No? This is very fascinating sloka. I've always wondered about this sloka. I want you also to wonder about this sloka. So Lord says, Brahma Bhuta Prasanna. Bhuta is to become, being. Okay. Now you have become united with Brahma. You are in a Jivan Mukta state by practicing all this. Bhuta Prasannatma. You are contented, very, very calm, very, very happy, mentally very joyful. Prasannatmaka, a kind of state which is a different state. It's a paradigm shift. It is a shift from what our state is presently. A sensory motor state which we are in now, depending on the manas, buddhi, aham, chitta. This is a total different state. In Brahma Bhutatvam, you are not in that state. We are in that state of united with Brahman. It's a different state altogether. We are not using mana, buddhi, aham, chitta, senses and everything, using these inner organs like mana, buddhi. Antakarana is not used. Antakarana does not make a decision. It becomes a channel for the decision making of the soul. Today I was reading one something, I don't know which yogi. He says, I don't remember where I read it also. Says something very fascinating. When you attain Brahma Tattva, Brahma Bhuta, when you become this Brahma Bhuta, so what happens? You actually start your real life then. That is when you start your real life. Fascinating, isn't it? That is real life. Till here, we were just doing and acting, struggling to attain that state. After that, actual activity of why Brahma sent you here, or Brahma himself came into this world, taking your body, creating those sense reactions, and all those will come out. Vinoba Bhave, Acharya Vinoba Bhave. He says, it seems, I think Vishal Bhai or somebody forwarded it in the group or to me, I don't know. I read it. That was very fascinating, hit me hard. He says that, imagine, So it's after becoming united with Brahman, we actually start doing our activity, our worldly activities. I'll give you an example. Guruji writes, what's his name? Abraham Lincoln. He was the emancipator who brought the blacks, who gave the rights to the blacks. I think 1774, 75. I don't know, the timing somewhere there in the American continent, right? American history. So he was the president who freed the blacks. So basically, if you know, South and North America used to always fight. Southern America had the slaves and all tied on chains, and they were working like slaves in their estates. They had huge estates. They were farmers, Southern Americans. Northern Americans had grown, like they had become intelligent. They got to Washington, D.C. and all that. The slaves were little freer there. They didn't have works and all. So South Americans didn't want the Northern Americans to free the state. But then there was a war, civil war, after which Abraham Lincoln helped the war to be, whatever. He got it all rectified and he got the slaves. There was a referendum and the slaves were freed. That was the biggest history of America. Those 500 years, British, French, everyone, they used to take African thousands in one ship, as cargo. They were not even like how today for slaughter we take animals, right? They take in chickens. You've seen in the roads and all. Sometimes if you go to Bangladesh borders, they even see cows, and then we'll see these goats and all taken like that. Africans were taken from the continent of Africa. The whites literally bled that continent. Very sad. So interestingly, it was never there in India. So that is Abraham Lincoln, Guruji says, was a yogi who attained Brahma Tattvam in the Himalayas in his past life. But when he attained Brahma Tattvam in his past life, he kept on thinking of how the higher class used to destroy the lower class. There was perhaps a lot of casteism, even in India. He might have seen it. So he attained Brahma Tattvam, but this one thought continued to remain. And using this thought, he came back. Although he was God realized, becoming the president of America, he was an Indian in his past life, a rishi from the Himalayas. And he emancipated a whole country. How is that for you? So your emancipation, your work will start after you become a Brahmabhuta. Fascinating, huh? But then you'll be at that Prasannatma. You'll not be worried about that work. You'll not be worried about anything. You'll be in a very deeply detached state. Na shodchati na kankshati. You will not cry. You will not expect anything. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu. You will find equality in all the beings. Then what happens? Mad bhaktim labate param. Then you will attain bhakti for me. Are you understanding? That is bhakti. Labate param. For the Supreme, you will attain bhakti then. So where is bhakti? Bhakti is samadhi. Bhakti is that state, Bhagavan Krishna is saying. You can think about it. Then Lord then says, Bhaktya mam abhijanate yavanyashchasmi tattvata tato mam tattvato jnatva vishate tadanantaram. Bhaktya, when you attain this bhakti, mam abhijanati, what will happen? Me, you will know what I am. Or you will come to know who I am. Yavan yashcha asmi, how I am, how I create these worlds, all these things. Tattvataha, in essence, meaning you will know me completely in essence, what I am. how I created this world. That is why in the Gita also, after Bhakti Yoga only, the 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th is explained, which is about the three gunas and the, all those things. Like Purusha, Prakriti, Om Tat Sat is understood. It is meant that, we understand after we attain Bhakti. Tata Mam Tattvata Jnatva. You will know in essence what I am. Meaning, Tattvata Jnatva, again, we have to understand the meaning of this word. Tattvata is to attain Brahman by becoming one with Brahman, or knowing Brahman by becoming one with Brahman. You see, that is different than reading about Brahman or singing or learning about Brahman. Like what we're doing now is learning about Brahman. But Tattvata Jnatva is to enter into Brahma in essence and know what it is. What is this superpower? We keep talking about it. How do we say the Guru Tattva is the same as the Brahma Tattva? So what is this? We will know it in ourself. And Gurudev Paramahansa says, when you know this, you can't explain it. That's the fascinating part. You can't explain it really. You may write another Gita, but then you will not be able to explain to the other person. One has to realize it within themselves. Vishate tat anantaram. Then you will be able to enter into me. So you see this process from 51 to 55, when the amount of yatna, activity or struggle a person does. So to be there on those photographs on the altar, to be worshipable, to become a Brahma Bhutatma, to become a Bhakta, takes so much effort for everyone. If it's Larry Mashya, Mahatar Babaji, even Jesus Christ for that matter. Bhagwan Krishna himself had so many lives, right? And then everyone. Swami Shikteshaji, Paramahansa Yogananda, Ramakrishna Paramahansa. So they have done all this. Then Vishate Tat Anantaram. And then they will enter Brahma. Now this enter is necessarily after death. Disembodied entering. That's what Paramahansa Yogananda says. He says, although a saint and avatar Purush can live in Brahma, to strictly be completely united with Brahma, one should not possess a body. Because Brahma is not in form. 10th chapter, you can read. So Vishate Tat Anantaram. Then you will really enter. Till then we go through, we will enter other lokas, Janaloka, Marloka, Tapoloka. But and even Satyaloka, and Brahma is beyond Satyaloka, you see. So then that is entering Brahman. It's a very high state. Then Lord says, Sarva Karmanyapi Sada Kurvano Madavyapashayaha Matprasada Tavapnoti Shashvatam Padam Avyayam. Lord says, Sarva Karmani Api Sada Kurvannaha Mat Vyapashayaha. So these beings, and it's not only these beings, but also my devotees. Lord says, Sarva Karmani, all karmas also, Sada always, Kurvanaha, what you're performing, Mat Vyapashraya, surrender it to me. All the works. He said the same thing in the 9th chapter also. Whatever you're eating, whatever you're thinking, whatever you're bathing, whatever you're doing, just give it to me. Madhavyapashraya. Mat prasadat. My prasad, as a grace, as a blessing from me, avapnoti, you will attain shashvatam, eternal padam, avyayam, which is imperishable. Nobody can take away that padam from you. So I will give grace to you. This is explained by Lord Krishna, Gurudev, who says that just imagine in this world, which is cyclical, which keeps coming and going, once the jiva enters the cycle of creation, it is very difficult for the jiva to go back to father's home, mother's home, which is eternal, to be completely free, because it is in the jakad of the prakriti, it is in the tightened fists of prakriti, and prakriti doesn't let it go easily. Nature itself is alive. So then the jiva, once it attains the Paramatma, when the jiva attains the Paramatma, it has to struggle, get away from this wheel and go into that. But then Lord says, in this Prakriti, so it's cyclical. There is no eternal damnation, meaning there's no eternal hell. Like you're eternally evil, so I'll put you into eternal hell. No, even the hellish beings have a chance for redemption. They can go into higher lokas. Okay, and even the higher loka beings can fall. Story of Jaya Vijaya, Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu. So even higher loka beings, Ravana and Kumbhakarna, they become lower beings. So there is a cyclical activity here. Then Guruji asks this question to all of us in Kotak Arjuna: if there is no eternal damnation, how is it that avatars are there who are completely united with Brahman, who are totally in bliss? How? Guruji answers it himself by saying that's grace, that's a blessing. That's why Lord says here in this shloka also, Mat prasadat avapnoti. I pull you out and I give you complete unity with me and I send you back to this world in complete power, Purna Purushottam, as an avatar. So you see, it comes through grace. It comes through grace. Not only personal effort, it is only God's grace. Have you seen even teachers, for example, this is applicable everywhere. In the school, they have special liking for the hardworking child, especially for the first rank child or the second rank. They will call them and give all their works, give them some special treats. Or even during the marking, acha, iska paper hai, tak, tak, tak. Maybe the first rank child or the hardworking child has made mistakes, but they will overlook it and just give high marks, 25 on 25. Aata hi rehta hai. How? That is grace. Mat prasadad avapnoti. Shashwatam padamavya. So we just have to sharanagati, surrender, which is very simple actually, right? As well as tough in a sense. Then Lord says, Chetasa sarva karmani mai sanyasya matparaha buddhi yogamupashritya machitta satatam bhava. Lord says, Chetasa, in your complete conscious awareness, Sarva Karmani, my Sanyasya Matparaha, taking me as the Param goal, my Sanyasya, dedicate everything to me, all your karma, very consciously. Buddhi Yogam Upashritya. Buddhi yoga is discriminative thought process, meaning in everything to remember God itself is a challenge, right? On a date. So we need buddhi yogam, discriminative. Yes, I got this food because of Brahma. Thank you, Lord. Thank you. So that is buddhi yogam, discriminative intellect. At that moment to be with Brahma. Upashritya, take shelter with that. By that you will be able to surrender. Lord Krishna is giving us the upaya, the technique also. That's why Viveka Ananda. Viveka means discrimination. The Ananda that you get by being mindful, discriminative. It's a very high, calm state of mind can have such a discriminative intellect. Machitta satatam bhava. So in me, your consciousness, chitta should be satatam, constantly united. Become like that, bhava. This says Lord explaining. Machitta sarva durgani matprasadat tarishyasi ata chetvam ahankaran nashroshyasi vinangshasi. Lord says, machittaha, matchittaha. By giving your chitta to me, remembering me all the time, Sarva Durga. Durga means fort. Durga means fort. This world is like a fort. There's so many troubles and hurdles. Sarva Durgani, all these problems, hurdles, Mat Prasadat, again through my grace, Tarishyasi. You will cross over. There's not a single soul in this universe, Guruji writes, who has not felt the power of God, who has not seen the grace of God. Right from an ant to a ghost who is a disembodied being can worship God. Because it is Him that every being is depending on. Every being. And He responds with alacrity, Guruji says. With very fast He responds. So why not call? Just because He is not visible. And when He comes visibly also, we don't want to accept. We crucify Him. Saying, how can you be a God? Because you're human. And then you say you can't hear the voice of God. So this is a very fascinating question Guruji asks in Second Coming of Christ. So it's like, why? Then how will God respond to you? He's trying in every way to talk to you. You are stuck in this wheel of samsara going on here for 320 billion years. You're not coming out and you're struggling. So cry out to Him. He'll come. So Mat prasadat tarishyasi. Terna. Tarishyasi matlab you will cross. Ata chetvam ahankaran na shoshyasi vinangshasi. Okay. So, ata chet tvam. Suppose you, ahankarat, meaning ego is very strong. I don't need God. I'm fine the way I am. Na shoshyasi. You don't listen. Shrunu. Shoshyasi vinangshasi. You will destroy yourself. If you say, I don't need God, I am okay, I'm fine the way I am. At last minute, you'll suffer. I mean, without knowing where to go, what to do. Because it's a magnetism of the mind. If we have a higher magnetism, it vibrates at a higher magnetism and depth. So we go to a higher being or a higher loka. So you will suffer anyway. And it is naturally ingrained. Hope and love and divine surrender for divine is inside every being. It is not religion based, caste based. It is there in every atom of this universe. Gurudev Paramahansa says, even the very dust of this world bows down to Brahma. It knows if it is let free from the holding of the Prakriti, it will fly and melt into Brahma. Even the very dust of the universe, the universal stardust. And that is the reason Brahma hides himself. So everyone wants to go home. Fascinating. Then Lord says, Yadahankaramashritya nayotsya iti manyase mityesha vyavasayaste prakrtistvam niyokshati. Then Lord says, if ahankar se, if ahankar, due to ahankara, your own, belief, that self-belief and pride, ashratya, by thinking you're taking shelter in ahankara, not in God, na yotsye, because Arjuna is saying, I'll not fight. And most of us say, we will not work in this world. I want to run away. Yeah. Na yotsye, when we see this world is very tough, right? So na yotsye, you want to not fight. Iti manyase, if you think like that, mitya esha vyavasayaha. Vyavasaya is your work, your thoughts, your willpower, your determination. Work, basically. Esha, this vyavasaya is wrong. Mithya is lies. Te prakritim tvam niyokshati. Because you are in the cycle of Prakriti. Prakriti will get you to do what you're supposed to do. You will end up doing that irrespective. That's why Guruji says, when you have not yet reached that state of Brahmana and you say, I'll go to the Himalayan caves and meditate, you cannot meditate there. Because Prakriti Swam Niyoksha, you will feel hunger, thirst, you will feel that pull for your family, attachments, and things like that. So, being here only, you try to rise and then come to that state where you are a real sannyasi or a renunciant, and then you can think of it. Then Lord says, Swabhavajena kaunteya nibhattasvena karmana kartum nechasi anmohat karishyasva tat. Karishyasi avashopi tat. That is the yanmohat karishyasi avasho. That's helplessly. So then Lord says, Swabhava Jaina Kante, born out of Swabhava. Because you also have a Sattva Rajas Tamas Guna mixture inside yourself, and you have an environment which is according. Like you're in the Yuddha Bhumi, which is highly Rajasic. A little bit of Tamas also. Some people may be Sattvic in that Ranabhumi, but mostly Rajasic. So you also have a Kshatriya Dharma, which is highly Rajasic in nature, tinged with Sattva. So your Swabhava will force you to work, Kaunteya. Nibhadda, you're bound by it. Svena karmana. Also your past actions. This shows that Arjuna had some karmic proclivity to wage that war. So it was not, simply that Arjuna happened to be. It is not his first life. Maybe it is his 300th millionth life. We don't know. It would have been a huge number of lives to get that kind of skill and power that Arjuna had, right? So he says, Nibaddha Svena Karmana. Kartum na ichasi, even if you don't want to, yet mohat, out of delusion, you're saying, I don't want, I want to be a sannyasi, I don't want to kill people, I don't want to kill people. Karishyasi avashaha api tat. You will do it avasha, helplessly, because Prakriti and your Swabhava will push you to do this. Then Lord says, This is again one of those very big cryptic statements that Lord makes. Taken alone, it makes very mind-boggling statement. This is, if you take it in relation to the previous shloka, then it gives a slightly different meaning. Okay, so you can interpret this. This is basically a poem. Poem doesn't have any hard and fast rules. You can interpret it. That's why it's called a Gita. So you can interpret it. Lord here says, Ishvara sarva bhutanam hriddeshe arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarva bhutani yantra rodani mayaya. The 61st shloka. It's a very famous, world famous shloka. In fact, people quote it Sarasar. He says everything is destiny. So that is easy to say. So this, we've heard this very often. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam. Lord, the Supreme Ishvara. In the Ishvara, now the word Ishvara in our scriptures mean something very fascinating. It means two things. One is the king of, the Lord of all beings. That's what Ishvara means. Okay, and it also, Lord explains this in the 8th chapter, that I am Ishvara residing and ruling over this creation. Okay, so now he says Ishvara, that is, he is ruler. He is inside and ruling. That is, this is Ishvara. So this is, he is not necessarily mentioning himself as Satpara Brahma beyond here. This is Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam, in all beings, Hrit Deshe, in the heart region. Hrit Deshe, Arjuna Tishtati, he sits there. He is permanently residing there. Brahmayan Sarva Bhutani. He makes all the bhutas get confused. Or you can say Brahmayana, causing bewilderment. It's like a Maya. Guruji explains this as, this is what is Maya. God is explaining this as Maya. So, in that Brahma, Sarva Bhutani Yantra Arudhani Mayaya. All the beings, Sarva Bhutani, like a yantra, like a machine, you switch it on, it works. So you and I are working like a machine. This whole universe is like a machine. Perhaps that is how the Tchaikovsky brothers, Russian brothers, got the entire story of Matrix. You've seen the movie of Matrix, Resurrection, Revolutions. If you've not seen, please see it. In our children's satsanga here, Vihariji showed it to the children, because it's a Vedantic concept that the Russians wrote. Entire 4-5 series movies, Keanu Reeves. So it's basically Yantra Aruda. So we're like a machine. We are working, we are moving, our thinking, our thought process. That is why Lord says Sangash Chetana Dhritihi in the 17th chapter, right? He says, you see, the mana buddhi aham chitta, when you put it together inside a semi-conscious being also, it acquires some kind of consciousness. It acts as if it is alive. Yes, so it's like a Maya's little power it uses, and that is how AI is becoming mildly conscious. If you see, we discussed this before, it has all the gyan, knowledge, memory, and it is acting like a human. To create a 5-minute video on Indian economic system over the past 50 years. In 5 minutes, he'll create, not in 2 minutes, he'll create and give it to you. So how does he know? There's some kind of intellect which is there in the AI, artificial system, and it's got its own consciousness, basic consciousness. So like that, Maya has its consciousness, which makes all beings move. And who created that Maya? Brahma himself, Ishvara himself. I'm not saying the word Brahma because here he calls himself Ishvara. Okay, so this is a very cryptic statement taken in conjunction with the previous shloka. Swabhavajena kaunteya nibaddhasvena karmana. Kartum nechasi anmohat karishyasi avashopi tat. So he says that in this Prakriti, there is a Maya which has been given instructions, coding, it has been programmed to work in a specific manner. Ishvara has done it, and you will be forced to do according to that Maya and Prakriti. And when you enter this Prakriti also, you yourself take on these responsibilities. You, because you are Brahma, right? So you yourself have taken on that I will be a teacher once, then I will be a doctor, then I'll be a nurse, then I'll be a housewife, then I'll be an army man, then I'll be an army, perhaps head of army, then I'll be a prime minister. The soul has decided before coming here all its blueprints in the causal universe. Who's the soul? Brahma himself. He's a Brahma himself. He decided. And so technically, we are doing what we decided. And now after coming here, we are saying, I won't do. So that is who is doing that? That is that aham. That is related to this. So actually, Brahma has decided, you have decided before coming here, and you will do it. He's telling Arjuna, to you and me also, do your duties. That's all basically. Everyone, if they're busy doing their duties, there'll be no terrorism, there'll be no murder, there'll be no, arson and things like that in this world. Then Lord says, Tameva sharanam gaccha sarvabhavena bharata tatprasadat param shanti sthanam prapsyasi shashvatam. Lord says, take refuge. Now Arjuna speaks. I mean, Lord Krishna is speaking. He's saying to Arjuna, take shelter in him. And this is again a very confusing statement. I'll leave it open-ended because Lord Krishna is talking in Pratyagatma state. He first identifies himself as Brahma. He talks about himself in a different state. Then now he introduces the concept of Ishvara, the Lord of this creation. Now he says, take refuge in the Lord of creation. Lord says, take tam eva, in him eva, sharanam gaccha, take sharana, sarva bhavena, complete heart se, go sharan. Take surrender. Bharata, tat prasadat, by his grace alone, param shanti, you can get peace. Sthanam prapsasi shashvatam. And you will attain not only peace, but you will attain eternal place, sthanam, eternal place. So you see, that is exactly where we all have to go when we have lack of peace. So that's a very simple interpretation. Then who is Lord Krishna referring to? This is typically Krishnanandaji's questions to people. Who is Lord Krishna referring to? Because these are very confusing statements. These don't have yes or no answers. And this will not be understood just by deliberating for hours. Whom is Lord Krishna referring to when he says Tameva Sharanam Gaccha? He is referring to Ishvara. But who is he? He himself is Ishvara, right? We call him Ishvara. Then who is he referring to? So Lord Christ and Krishna and even Guruji says that all these avatars make these confusing statements. They at one minute they say I'm the son of man, then they say I'm the son of God, I'm the Alpha and Omega, and I'm the one through which. Then he says, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. Lord, Lord, why have you forsaken me? Help me. The same Christ who said I am God is now crying, saying, Lord, help me. So Guruji says, calls this the confusing personality of the avatars. So which means he also explains this very beautifully that any avatar, however great he is like Brahma himself, completely Purna Purusha. Even when they come, they have to follow the laws of Mother Divine, the nature's laws. They have to eat, they have to excrete, they have to bathe, they have to take care of the body, basically. It's not going to happen naturally. They also have to do it. So the nature will take its toll on that body also. So, however strong, of course, they can use the Brahma's power instantly and wipe out any pain in the body. They can. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. They will take on natural causes and die also. So, this is how the avatars live. Guruji says they have a dual life. They are always in Brahman, but they can shift their complete Chetna from Brahman into the world also and experience the world as a normal man does. And that's a great freedom. That the difference between him and you is an avatar in us is we cannot shift our consciousness completely from this world into Brahman, which is a great freedom, the world of freedom within ourselves. Okay, beyond mana buddhi aham chitta. Okay. Now, Lord, we'll close with this on the 63rd, 64 tomorrow we'll do. Lord says, Iti te jnanamakyatam guhyat guhyataram maya vimrashye tadasheshena yathechasi tatha kuru. This is something very fascinating. The Lord is closing the Gita technically in the 63rd shloka. He says, Iti te jnanam akyatam. This is the jnana, knowledge I have given you so far. I have explained completely. Guhyat guhyataram. Guhyataram maya. So, this kind of knowledge is a very secretive knowledge, because not everyone is told when they are born that surrender to God, go to God, you'll get peace, leave everything. Because you and I are born in India, we know it. If you're born in the Western world, nothing you will know. Beyond the precincts of the Himalayas, you'll know nothing. And for that matter, today's world is almost like the Western world, so they will also not know. So this becomes a guhyat guhyataramaya. So this is the most biggest secret. Not all beings know this. So then vimrishyet, vimrishyat, vimrishya matlab think about it, reason, think, cogitate, vimrishya. Okay, etat on this, asheshena, completely, without giving out a reminder. Think about it completely. Yata ichchasi tata kuru. After that, do what you want to, Arjuna. He closed this. And this shloka has been touted as by all the Western philosophers as one of the greatest shlokas in Gita. Because in any other scripture, they say that you do this, this has to be done. Anybody else is not doing, you cut off their necks and you force them to do this. But here Lord says, I've told you all this. Yatechasi tatakuru. You think about it. It's a very beautiful shloka. And what is fascinating, this also shows the mindset of the evolution of the people of those times, that civilization of India. 3,000 years back, our civilization is so developed that the reasoning mind, the intellect, the science and technology and the medicine and everything, all the shastras was so developed, a man could think and do for himself. You will force a person to do that tribal or is a little child. Karo isko, force tabhi karoge. But yahan pe yatechasi tatha kuru. Because you have a reasoning mind, you have an intellect. But if your intellect is not developed, your reason is not developed, your manas is not, mind is also not developed, then you will not do the right choices. Then you are forced. So in the Western world, whatever religions were established were a kind of a force. But here it is yatechasita thakur. Because our mind and intellect is developed enough to take the right decision. Okay. So with this we'll close. We'll take a moment of silence. Tomorrow we'll complete from 64 to 78. So we'll take a moment of silence. Let's visualize Lord Krishna with all his mysterious statements in the Gita. The mystery will come out only when you read and read and read. Vimrishyet dasheshena. Constantly read and understand, go deeper, deeper. So many mysteries come out. Even revelations come, answers come. Bowing down, clasping your Guru's feet, your Ishta's feet, we'll say, Om Guru Narayaneti Samarpaya. Jai Guru to everyone. So I request Gauriji to chant for us from 49 to 64. No, 63. Yeah, secret of all the secrets.
Okay.
Why Lord says that, Saptaji? Why does he say that? Tell me. Explain that. Why does he say that? Because the explanation is very simple. Because God is the biggest secret. Nobody understands what is God. Nobody knows
right.
him. You can't see, touch, taste, feel, nothing. And that is why there's so much
He is
confusion
the most
also.
secret.
Yes.
He is the most secret one.
Yes. So we have normal secrets. It is the most secret of all the secrets. Because it is not that Guruji says that it is not that he wants to keep himself secret to confuse people, but simply because if he manifests himself completely, the whole world will,
World will demolish.
Yeah, it will all get absorbed into him.
Yes.
So
There is
his
no
power,
fit.
yeah, there the Maya will have no power then. So
Yes,
that
there
is
will be
why,
no fit.
yeah. So she has been given power. Prakriti, she
Yes.
plans according to her own power, and Maya is a ruling here. But if God ever comes, that is why when Christ and Krishna came, they could walk on water, they could raise the dead, they could do anything, right? Maya has no
Mm.
power over them, technically, like
But
that.
that Maya causes us delusion and gives us so much problems.
Yeah, so many lives. That
So
is
many
why we
lives,
have,
so many
but
problems, so many
yes,
lives, so many problems, so many big, big things.
yes,
Very difficult to overcome.
yes, no, but then that's what. If we surrender to Brahma, then
Mm.
our mind unites with him. There is a same resonance, and we get free. We'll just
Yes.
escape. Yes, from the Maya. So that is the technique. Yes, yes, surrender.
Uh, Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. Any other doubts?
Didi, I had a basic question. Uh,
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
why did only Arjuna got this despondency and not other Pandavas? Because in fact, Yudhishthir was the one who was responsible for all these. So, I mean, they were all, I mean, Pandavas, that means uh, they were uh, whatever, good qualities or something. So, why didn't other Pandavas, especially Yudhishthira, was having that
A good
despondence?
question. Answer is very simply Gahana Karmano Gati. Why Arjuna is that soul which is chosen to be there? Why he was there? We don't know. We don't know what is Arjuna's 300, 400 million lives which he has led. Many kalpas he might have been there. We don't know what that soul has done to be there at that point. But Guruji is very clear of one thing. It is an equal table. There is no one special soul. Even Jesus and Krishna are the same for Parabrahman. So they have also worked to come there. Although you and I know this to be Lord Krishna to be Purna Avatar, there are some Puranas. I was told about this. I don't know. I've forgotten the which Purana. Some of the devotees who had read very deep in depth. They said that Bhagwan Krishna also spent 5,000 years in meditation to become a Krishna. 5,000 years in meditation. That's more than Vasishtha, Vishwamitra and all spent 500 years, they say, right? So this is like that soul, Krishna's soul, to become a Krishna, to manifest Parabrahm completely, and to become an avatar, had spent so much struggle. So it is something, it's not punyam, it is not a good luck. It is not like God suddenly. Guruji has written this very clearly in Kota's Arjuna that God can create a million Krishnas. God can create a million, billion Arjunas. But he
Mm.
will not
Exactly.
let any soul simply come. That soul should have worked through that, made the effort through multiple lives and attained that state. Otherwise, he can just send somebody from Satyaloka directly who's never come to earth. A pure soul who is like having no troubles. Come here, do miracles, whatever you want. But then what's the point? He will never relate to earth because he has never been on earth. So we have to go through this, attain that state, and then we given these padavis, upadis, not upadis, padavis.
That
So,
means God is the Parameshwara and Krishna is the Ishara.
good question. But yeah, okay, you can say that also.
Parameshwara,
Basically,
I
Krishna
mean,
is
Parameshwara, I
Krishna.
mean unmanifested.
Yes, yes,
Unmanifested.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Krishna is symbolic of Kutastha Chaitanya. That's why it's called Krishna. And that's why if you see the way his dress is also like Kutastha. So he wears the yellow colored. You see my DP there on the this one. He wears the yellow colored,
Mm.
vastra. Why? That is symbolic of Om. So Om is he's always wearing golden. Gold is Om, right? And Guruji has
Mm.
explained Kutastha Chaitanya is blue. Krishna's color was blue. So it is Om manifesting Om and Tat. Om Tat in Krishna. Like that. Anything which comes into manifestation is Tat. Jesus is also Tat. Sat can never manifest. Technically, he can never physically manifest. The moment he manifests, he'll be called Tat. Then when he comes as a Purusha into the creation, he is called Tat. He is called Kutastha. The highest Sat he's called Sat only because he's unmanifest. You got the point, right?
Yes. Didi,
Very nice question.
so many things has to remember. But main, if we, while we meditate, we are meditating on our Ishta or Guru, right? But on what Krishna was meditating, so that he has to take such a long time to be Krishna.
Good question, but we don't meditate on the physical form of the Guru. Each, in a physical form of the Guru or the physical form of Brahma and all, we meditate only in the beginning. After some time, that image disappears, no, Didi? So it becomes unmanifest only, right? Actually, that way, yogis, although their desire is to become one with their Guru,
ऑटोमेटिकली ले जाता है और उधर जाके कृष्णा के पास छोड़ देता है कृष्णा बोलते ओ कृष्णा यू हैव कम तो देन आफ्टर दैट that they
and unmanifest. Because that is why Adi Shankara says, no, in na gurur naiva shishyam. There is nothing called shishya, there is nothing called Brahma. They're fully aware of every particle of the universe then. And then what we realize, what Lahiri Mahasaya said, I am Venkusha, I am Vishnu, I am Shiva, I am Krishna, Aham Brahmasmi.
aham brahmasmi
The highest
aham
state. When you
brahmasmi
that so
yes
there was no actually everything was just on the screenplay, screen show on the movie theater. Everything was just the light, and you unite with the light, you'll realize you were the light. You actually decided you want to be Tapti, you want to be, God knows what your other names were in other lives. So you, or in future lives. So you were deciding all this. You were Brahma throughout. And you will see that that Tapti was there. That is Tapti, oh, that is Rachel, that is Ramya, that
but
is
but is it
Sushma.
but it will not be ever possible then that I do not want to come in on the earth further. I want to stay with Brahma as a unmanifested or manifested, whatever he wants. That is not possible then, because it is this earth is a arts. Everyone's role is cyclic in order. Everyone has to go and come again, right?
No, no,
Then,
no. That is forcibly. When you are in the cycle, you're not mukta, you're not free.
hmm,
You will be when you're free and when you attain Brahma. See, we don't attain Brahma at death. Remember that. We
hmm,
don't become one with that Brahman at
uh,
death. Suppose tomorrow I and you die, we will not go into Brahman.
hmm,
We will go to one more loka. That's it. One higher loka, lower loka, according to our karmas and basically our state of mind. More
hmm.
than karma, it's state of mind. Because all
Again,
karma.
from there we have to come again.
Not necessarily. If you have finished your work here, you will go to some other loka.
Uh,
Billions. In my father's house are many mansions, Lord Krishna says. There are
uh,
millions and millions. Lord Christ says. Same thing Lord Krishna says, no? Ushitva Shashvatim Samaha. You can also stay there for a million years, any of the loka. Okay, if you like one loka, you can go, you'll helter skelter billions of galaxies. We don't know how many galaxies we've already gone, how many lives we've finished. Clearly, at least 300-400 lives on earth have finished. Definitely.
yeah.
Before that, what we've lived, we don't. So basically, but we don't merge with Brahman. We don't become Brahman. Even there, we'll have a different form, perhaps 4 hands, blue eyes, maybe, green skin, whatever, whatever alien form. But basically, to become, there also they will be praying to become one with Brahman. That loka also. Becoming
Hmm.
Brahman is after that, if you come down, you're an avatar. you're called an avatar. Meaning you're not coming forcibly. You're coming by your own ichha. And that is, you will only decide that, now I'll go to earth. I had lived here 4,000 years back. And I'll go there, I'll spend 50 years earth lives and come, earth years and come. Why? Because people are suffering there. You will only make a decision and you'll come. And for you, there's no fear to come. That's why Paramahansa Yogananda says, I'll come 1,000,000 times. If required, with bleeding feet, I'll come. They have no fear to come here. Because, like for example, you have just passed like right now, we all passed 7th standard, 8th standard, 10th standard exams. Okay. Now, if somebody says, go write the 7th standard exam again, go. I said, okay, no problem, I'll go. Give me the books, 2 days, I'll just study it and I'll write. There's no fear because you know what's a plus b is equal to a square plus b square is equal to a. I have forgotten the sloka, what sloka I'm saying, but all those a b square whole square. I just look at it once, you know it. So that's how these avatars are. They're one with Brahman, but when they come into Maya, they will be a little cautious. They will definitely look at the books and all. 2-3 days they'll look and that's it. They will learn. That's why Paramahansa Yogananda at the age of 15 only, he got 15, 16, he got super consciousness, samadhi, like that. So once they get samadhi, they have no fear. They can shift their consciousness from Maya to Brahman, whenever they want, wherever they want. In a second, they can move to Brahman. And they're in the Brahman state, nothing can harm them. If in the Maya state, they can get harmed. They'll feel hungry and all. So that's how it is. So complete unity. Then they have no fear, no? Coming into Earth or any planet, they will go spend 50 years in. And apparently, they don't like to spend. It's not like also. They'll decide only how much time they have to spend. So they normally come 30 years, 40 years, 50. They are not especially interested in longevity. That's why 59, Guruji left. 30, Vivekananda left. So Ramakrishna tells the advent of Vivekananda, he says, no, he's one of the Saptarshis, he says. He also is one of the Saptarshis, he says, Ramakrishna himself. He says that I wanted somebody to carry the message of Brahma to the world. So then he went to the Saptarshis who was meditating deeply and he asked him, can you come? So then this Saptarshi said, oh, really, you want me to come? He wasn't reluctant, but since a great, avatar is called, he said, yeah, I'll come. Quickly for 30 years, he came and went like that. United with Brahma. So like that.
Good. Okay, Dee, thank you
Yeah,
so much.
thank you, Dee. Thank you.
Didi, just
Yeah.
one small thing. One clarification, and the second is question I'll give you is are everybody who is walking in the path of spirituality, are they not Arjunas? Whether he is strong or weak or educated, uneducated, physically disabled or mentally challenged, all who are walking in the path of spirituality, are they not Arjunas? Miss in this Arjuna?
Metaphorically, yes. It is a metaphor.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a metaphor, yes. The Gita applies to every person's life at any station. Even if you're a sannyasi, it applies. In fact, even it applies to karmis. It teaches karmis to become karma yogis. It teaches jnanis to become jnana yogis. It teaches bhaktas to become bhakti yogis. It teaches bhakta is complete by himself, but then dhyanas to be
I think that
people.
the Lord is giving choice to you that you pick up anything, and finally, yes, you're coming.
Yes,
All
yes. So
options are there.
yeah, that's what Guruji says, that it sheds light to any person at any state of life, whether foreigner, Indian, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Zoroastrian, Jew, doesn't matter. It makes sense. Absolute sense it makes. Surrender to God, how to surrender to God, working in life, how to surrender, becoming a monk, how to surrender, becoming totally surrendered like a bhakta. It makes sense. It has no religion. It's like a shastra. Gita shastramidam punyam. That's why we say. The Shastra is mathematical. It is a set of rules and regulations which don't give any do's and don'ts. It suggests, but it doesn't say do this, do that. So it doesn't say that look, you have to do like this, you have to become a
Yeah.
karma yogi. It stresses on some things, but it does not say. It is okay if you're a sannyasi. That's what Gita
Now,
is.
Didi, my request to you is that Shloka 54, where
Yeah.
you talk of devotion,
Yeah.
give little more insight for 1 or 2 minutes. Some insight beyond what you have already said is the insight of which makes us really know what is really devotion.
That's a difficult question. Give a minute. I just came out of the room. I'm going back to the room. 1 second. Yeah. So, sir, bhakti, it's a very, it's a very strange statement. See, many people understand bhakti according to their stations in life. So, if you ask a bhakti yogi, for him, bhakti is the highest. If you read the Bhakti Sutras, he says bhakti is highest. But Guruji, for example, he says something very strange, which is first time I've come across. He says bhakti is is an explanation which has a certain distance from God. For example, Bhakta, he says, will always say that I am the servant of God, or I am the child of God, I'm the father, mother, you can say whatever of God. So by giving yourself a upadhi like that, you are separating yourself from God. So it says greater than bhakti is love, pure love for God. But if you ask a bhakti yogi, a bhakta, he will say that bhakti itself is union with God. That bhakti itself is union with God. Now, bhakti is a kind of if you look at it very scientifically, Param Guruji's book, Holy Science, it says bhakti is not a state of mind. It is definitely not a state of mind. It is a para. It is like this, supreme state. It's a state beyond the mana, buddhi, aham, and chitta. So, for example, if we weep in front of God, people say, "Oh, she's showing so much bhakti." Maybe it's the beginning of bhakti, but the very fact that that person is weeping in front of God means it is still in the chitta state, emotional state. Emotion is weeping, right? So maybe it's the beginning of bhakti, but in essential bhakti, real bhakti, samadhi happens. For example, if you have heard the story of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was a great Vidwan, he knew the Vedas, Shastras, he had written Bhashyas and all that. And then when he went to Jagannath Puri, he was a Bhakta also. Till then, he was not singing Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, the ISKCON movement, the Vaishnava, Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. But when he went to Jagannath Puri, he held the image of Jagannatha and he just wept and he lost consciousness. He kept on weeping and finally he lost consciousness. He was a great jnani till then. And when he came out of that was samadhi, he attained samadhi. When he came out of that, he started singing. He eternally just sang after that. He didn't write anything. He did not, give long pravachans or anything. He just sang Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. Because he was an avatar who came in Gaur Kali to give the people salvation through, that chanting, mantra chanting. Okay, so he was an avatar. So what he attained there was parakashta, completeness of bhakti. So at that state, it is union with Brahman. Bhakti can be explained as union with Brahman. That is why Lord says, Brahma Bhuta Prasanna. Bhuta is to bhava, to become. Brahma Bhuta, जो ब्रह्म बन गया, प्रसन्नात्मा, वो यूनाइटेड हो गया, वो मन बुद्धि हम चित्त को पार करके उसका स्टेट अलग हो गया, वो सोल कॉन्शियसनेस में चला गया है. Okay, Prasannatma is always content. Na shochati na kankshati. He never feels happiness, sadness. Like typical example is look at the photograph. These are living Shirdi Sai Baba, Ramakrishna, or look at Ramana Maharshi. They are where their mind is. There's nothing called mind. When you see only, like they say people have met these extremely advanced beings. They say that when you go in front of them, you feel like you're naked. Then you feel like this something is like a mirror. That's why Guruji is also called a flawless mirror. Even Guruji's face is like that. Especially you see this last smiles picture. You don't know what's happening in that picture. And the moment you look at the eyes, you know something is there. You need not have any kind of affinity to Gurudev. It's easily understood. Thankfully, we have pictures of these beings. So he's a Brahma Bhuta, Prasannatma, na shojati na kankara. Nothing troubles. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu. All beings are same for them. Mad bhaktim labate param. Then he'll get my bhakti. Parabhakti. So that means he is already in a state of very high samadhi. A bhakta is in a state of very high samadhi. So there are different explanations of bhakti. It is very difficult to explain what is bhakti because it is a state of the soul's pulling towards Brahma. So that's how Param Guruji explains it. He says it is not a pull coming from manas or buddhi or aham or chitta. It is maybe it starts from there, being in the world, but it is a final thing is the pull of the soul only. It's a natural, just like gravity is natural, and you don't have to tell gravity what it does. It keeps doing it and just keeps चिपका के रखता है हमको सबको धरती पे everything, buildings, you, me, earth, water, everything, stones and rocks and hills, and when the Mount Everest is stuck because of gravity. So it does its job. So bhakti is something like that. It is the pull of the soul when the soul awakens. Param Guruji explains this. There is something which happens. The pure heart attains it. Param Guruji says we have to read the holy sense deeply. That is, when the heart is purified completely, there is no kalank in the heart. There is nothing. Kalank bhi chodo. There's पूर्ण चित्तवृत्ति हो गया है, चित्तवृत्ति निरोध हो गया है, then that pull sudden जागृत हो जाता है. And that pull is called bhakti. That pull of the soul only to go back home. Home is inside only, not somewhere in the Andromeda galaxy. Home is inside only. So that soul instantly merges with the Brahman inside. So there may not be, this is not happening in the physical dimension. So we can't say that, oh, this happened. It may manifest in the brain. Like all the neurons may, suddenly get activated. 100% brain can be utilized. Mind becomes like a receiver, radio receiver. All sarvato sampluto, the cases, all jnana of the entire creation and beyond creation comes to that person. You just have to, everything physically, tremendous, robust physical body, very beautiful appearance on the face, everything can come. Maybe manifestation, but it is not happening on the 3D dimension. It's not happening in the XYZ axis. Because you're a scientist, I'm explaining that. It's not, that's exactly what I feel. Because I feel even the astral body does not exist in the physical dimension. And this concept of dimension, it goes within one dimension, is inside the other, inside the other, inside the other. So this is happening at a very high dimension. We don't know what it is. But it happens. The soul unites with Brahman. And that pull of the soul awakening. Right now also we all have soul. It's active. It is observing everything. You eat food, it will also enjoy. He is a bhokta. But the pull has not awakened for the soul. Maybe the soul's pull is still towards the earth. There's a pull. The ego keeps pulling the soul towards the earth, towards physical. When the ego stops, manaj stops, aham stops, buddhi stops, soul's pull awakens, natural pull. Something as natural as gravity. And it moves to Brahma instantly. So that pull is called bhakti. Natural pull of the soul, pure soul.
Thank you. I could understand only very small portion of it, but fine. I think whatever little I understood, fine. That is good, at least some progress more. Because how do I know that my devotion is in the right direction?
There are so many manifestations. Guruji gives no signs of progress in meditation or spiritual life. He says you will be different from your normal self. Like earlier, suppose you observe yourself, your emotions, check your emotions, check your intellect, check your wisdom level, check your reactions in your senses. Like all that will be changing slowly but surely. Like suppose, for example, you reacted very strongly to a specific person or a ideology or a religion. Now that sentiment would have become very equanimous. You would perhaps still possess some kind of, thing. There'll be no bigotry, there'll no hypocrisy. Other things like, your other things like ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmacharya, aparigraha, all these things, will have increased naturally. Like suddenly you'll be feeling compassion to a child or a dog which is not being fed. You'll see it on the road and you feel compassion. Ahimsa has awakened. Huh? Satya, you're telling, suppose you make a white lie also. Matlab, bada chada ke when, suppose you're saying something to your friend or something. But aisa tha. Suddenly there is a conscious which says, wait, is that correct? Observe yourself. You'll try to correct yourself. So even that white lie you don't want to say, which is supposed to be not a lie, which does not cause any harm. That's what is understood. But Guruji says all lies distort the rhythm, whether it's white or black or whatever. So as long as you've not attained self-realization, then all this, aparigraha, non-covetousness, everything. Okay, non-covetousness. You're not anymore hankering after money. You're not hankering after things like. So these things would change slowly. Shaucha increases, swadhyaya increases. You're interested in, Brahma. You want to go towards Brahma, and also this calmness. There is so much tremendous calmness throughout when you're doing something. When you're doing something, you'll feel that calmness. And when you're talking also, you will see that your chitta is, sieving knowledge from somewhere. You don't even know where that knowledge is coming from. So you know that you're becoming more like a translucent pipe through which Brahma is flowing. So you can, and magnetism, like people, simple people will come and say, I feel very good in your presence. What are you saying? Even somebody who speaks to you will say, people will naturally come to you for counsel. They will ask you, I'm feeling like this. Can I talk to you? So you don't know why it happens. So that is all signs that you progressing spiritually. These are all signs. Also meditation, it goes very seamlessly. There is a desire to meditate. There is a halchal in the heart when meditation doesn't happen. That is not falakankshi meditation. Just like meditation is not happening, you want to do it. There is that utsukata, that eagerness to meditate. So all this, so these are all signs. It may happen in one way or the other. Signs will definitely happen. And it is said that even if we make a small effort towards God, He sees it. See, I'm not saying any religion also. See, I've seen Muslims. One of my neighbors, she was such a nice lady when I was living in Delhi. She was a widow for 30 years. Her husband passed away. Alone, with the help of her brothers, she managed her whole household. They had some furniture shop or something. She was beaming. So she used to get attracted to me and she used to like, मेरे को आपसे बात करना है. From the balcony, she used to talk. So one day during Eid, she came over with some sweets and all to my house and she says, I had just started on the spiritual path. We just sat looking at each other. There's nothing to really speak. Then she came and hugged me. Like her face was beaming. So I said, "You look so spiritual. What do you do?" She said, "मैं कुछ नहीं करती हूँ. देखो हमारे इस्लाम में हम लेडीज को we are not allowed to go to temple and वैसे भी मैं विडो हूँ. टेम्पल मतलब उनका टेम्पल जो मॉस्क रहता है. वैसे भी मैं विडो हूँ तो मुझे लेके जाने आने वाला कोई नहीं है. मैं थोड़ा सा संभाल लेती हूँ इधर उधर थोड़ा सा जॉब किया. उसके बाद बच्चे बड़े हो गए मैं घर पे रहने लग गई. पर मैं पिछले 40 साल से 5 बार नमाज तो पढ़ लेती हूँ. एंड जब मैं नमाज पढ़ती हूँ मैं अल्लाह को बोलती हूँ कि मेरा मदद करो बस." उसने उतना ही साधना किया. एंड थ्रू दैट 40 years is not a joke. So she's not troubled anybody. She's not done anything. She's done her swe karmanya abhirata samsiddhim labate param. Wherever you are, whatever station, it is naturally ingrained in you to go down on your knees and bow. So do that wherever you are, however you are, according to your swabha. Why was I saying this? What was your question, sir? About bhakti. After that, you asked something else. Okay, so it is like that. So Brahma is aware and he knows. Somebody calls him Papa, somebody calls him Daddy, somebody calls him Mummy, somebody calls him Krishna, somebody calls him Vishnu, somebody calls him Allah, somebody calls him Yahweh, somebody calls him, Ganapati. Somebody worships him like this. But Sri Krishna says, no, whatever form you worship, it is you are worshipping me only. And anugraha, grace, I am only giving. 9th chapter. Like that.
Thank you, Didi. I think that last what you said, she has surrendered.
Yes.
Whatever that is what Gita says. ठीक है तो ये करो but surrender, finally he says surrender to me. That's all. Whatever you do, that has to be that. Surrender.
I remember when you say this, surrender. See, I don't know. It is also each soul's karma, also karmic, how it plays out. If you've heard the talks of Fayaz Ahmad, it also Reshma, our own very much Reshma Jivani, how she came into the path, it is very shocking. Now she says, although she can't keep a photograph in her house, she is all the time with Guruji, in her workplace, in her home. Of course, they are Boras, so then they're more open. But, she's all the time with Guruji. She says it was meant to happen. I don't even feel guilty. Like, for example, even I came through Shirdi Sai Baba into this path. When I was like Baba devotee for a long time, I couldn't leave the Baba prayers and, the chanting and all we have now. So, but finally, God brings you to your Guru and then to your path. And you have to take your path and surrender. That's our own choice. Apparently, they say according to our Guru will be very similar to our nature. So if our nature is a mix of bhakti and jnana and all, something like we want to know, there's intellectual knowledge also is there, surrender is also there, bhakti is there, then we are with Paramahansa. This is a path where, logic also plays a very important part, So it's very, dhyana is a path, marga for Dwapara Yuga. Dwapara Yuga started. So we are in that state now. So on and so forth.
Thank you, Didi. Thank
Thank
you
you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you to everyone. Take a moment of silence and we'll close. No other questions, I guess. Let's just pray that, every moment, somehow, we tell God only, please remind me of you. Tell Him only. That ego merges at the end, at least last minute, we are in His presence. That to hone wala hai, that I'm sure of. The amount of time we've spent with God, it's definitely going to happen. Especially for the Kriya Yogis who are doing this or who are doing the mantra chanting or anybody, it will definitely take care of that. Because He's heard us. He knows, that this one desires. Unless our ego comes and says, no, I want to, get this Gadi bungalow, one desire. Please fulfill this one desire, then it will be a mistake. Otherwise, it's done. Moksha has happened. That much He has listened to us. But it's only the desire which will be dangerous. Desire नहीं लाना है बस उसको हम guard करके रखते हैं ये माया खेल खेलेगी desire लाने की. She will suddenly bring something into your life which will feel very beautiful, very interesting. At the last moment also, जैसे आपका grandchild का जन्म होगा. When you are, I'm telling you, this is when you are like, all into full bhakti or something. Then you say, ये भी मेरा duty है बच्चे को खिलाना पिलाना. And then बच्चे सौंप के चले जाएंगे आपके बच्चे आपके ऊपर. Then पूरा नया कर्म चालू होगा. So, just giving example, something new will come. Maya खेल है. You love, be detached in everything. Then only we'll find. We have. It's just that Maya को सरेंडर करो बोलो माँ आप मुझे फ्री करो आपका ही ये नेचर है माया आपका बाएं हाथ है आप दाएं हाथ मुझे दे दो बस परा प्रकृति मुझे दे दो अपरा प्रकृति मुझे नहीं चाहिए आपका मैं उसमें बहुत सारा सत्य हूँ बस ये बोलने का बस विजुअलाइज गुरुदेव ओम गुरु नारायण समर्पया जय गुरु
Jai Guru to everyone. Jai Guru.
थैंक यू
Jai Guru, thank you.